welcome to your Max Podcast Now. First off, I want to apologize for the brevity of the show and the lack of production values, as I have the bug this week, but I wanted to get the show to you. Story 1. On Wednesday, Amazon finally released its supposed iPad killer tablet, called Fire. Basically an Uber Kindle, the real kicker is the price, just $199. Naturally, that low sticker price explains the lack of an embedded camera and microphone, plus consumers will find Wi-Fi but no 3G, but they do get a 30-day trial of Amazon Prime. The new tablet is clearly undercutting Apple's iPad on price, with the Fire costing less than half of Apple's entry-level iPad. How can they afford to do that? According to Piper Jaffray analyst Gene Munster, they can't. Amazon is likely losing about $50 per Kindle Fire and notes the disparity between that loss and the 30% plus gross margin Apple makes on the iPad. Want specs? It has a 7-inch IPS panel, Gorilla Glass coating, a 1 GHz TI OMAP dual-core CPU, 512 megabytes of RAM, 8 gigabytes of internal storage, and a chassis that weighs 14.6 ounces. There's access to the Android App Store, although oddly, no access to Google's Android market, Kindle books, magazines, etc. And WhisperSync now works with movies and TV shows. When you get home, switch to your big screen TV. Your movie will be right where you left it. I think I've heard that before. While it's clearly Android underneath, the actual UI looks nothing like it. TechCrunch's intelligence claims that Amazon went and did its own thing without Google's blessing. Pre-orders are currently being taken, but only for the Americas, with shipment heading out on November 15th. Of course, if Apple is concerned about profits, Mobile Ad Network InMobi reports that 41% of mobile users in North America plan to purchase the iPhone 5, and 50% of those planning to purchase the phone will buy it within the first 6 months after it is launched, which could propel its current 27% smartphone market share to 41%. Not too shabby. Another part of Amazon's new Kindle Fire pitch is its promise of Amazon Silk, a split browser exclusive to the tablet that gets the heavy lifting done on its EC2 cloud servers and promises faster access as a result. A split browser accelerates the power of the mobile device hardware by using the computing speed and power of the AWS, Amazon Web Services cloud. The Silk browser software resides both on Kindle Fire and on the massive server fleet that comprises the Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud. With each page request, Silk dynamically determines the division of labor between the mobile hardware and the Amazon EC2. For example, which browser subcomponents run where. That takes into consideration factors like network conditions, page complexity, and the location of any cached content. The result is a faster web browsing experience, and it's available exclusively on Kindle Fire. Right now, Silk will only run on the Fire, but Amazon has already registered several domains, hinting that the browser could come to other platforms, according to domain registration watchdog Fusible. Within the list of about 500 domains Amazon registered yesterday to defend the Fire and Silk brands, Fusible found Amazon Silk for Mac.com, Amazon Silk for PC.com, and Amazon Silk for Android.com. Since Silk is able to learn users' browsing habits and preload sites before you even visit them, it would make sense for Amazon to want to get the browser on as many devices as possible. Clearly, some of the domains are defensive moves to fend off would-be typo squatters or other opportunists, but it wouldn't be surprising to see some of those addresses presage broader Silk usage later on. Starting Silk support with the Fire tablet is smart. Silk development is vastly easier when it runs on a single device rather than a vast array of tablets, PCs, and smartphones. But once that's settled down, Amazon could go either way. Keeping Silk as a Fire-only feature would mean the company then could tout it as a feature that competitors lack, But if Silk is to serve a higher goal, such as driving Amazon e-commerce or giving it a foundation for a web app store push, then Amazon would likely extend to other areas. Engadget reports that last year, Google filed a lawsuit against the U.S. Department of the Interior on allegations that the government unfairly awarded a $59 million cloud computing contract to Microsoft. And Judge Susan Braden recently declared that there was a justifiable basis for dispute. Last week, however, Google decided to drop the suit altogether after filing a motion in the U.S. Court of Federal Claims, saying based on the defendant's agreement to update its market research and then conduct a procurement in a manner that will not preclude plaintiffs from fairly competing, plaintiffs respectively move for dismissal of this action without prejudice. But federal lawyers responded claiming that the two sides have not reached an agreement, while confirming that it had no problem with Google's decision to cease litigation. So, it remains to be seen whether the two sides have truly reached an agreement or whether the litigation just may go on and on and on. Truth triumphs fiction! And now we wing our way to the cultural mecca that is Arkansas. AP. An Arkansas man who was once convicted of threatening to cut off a woman's feet and suck her toes while she bled to death was back in jail Monday after two women told police he wanted to touch their toes as well. According to police reports, one woman said the man stared at her while she was shopping at a department store, then approached her and told her he loved her toes and they were so long and beautiful. Woman, Arkansas. Anybody seen Clinton? And that's the main stuff in the Magic Apple Kingdom this week, boys and girls. Again, I apologize. This cold is just no fun. Next week we should be back to a regular show with a full op-ed and stuff. In the meantime, we've got the 4th coming up. I got my fingers crossed. I'm looking at my AT&T policy to see if I can pull off that $18 stunt they're talking about. And it's probably too good to be true. Of course, AT&T sucks, so what does it really matter? So until next time, this has been your host, Frank Petrie, reminding you to download, double-click, and drop out.